Hello there, YouTube. Devin here again. I figured I'd show you a pretty, actually quite rare and not well-known piece of gear, and well, uniform more or less, in my collection that I've had for a bit. And this is actually probably one of my favorite hats, and I'm doing this because my other hat video on the M38 Russian tropical hat did so well. This one I'm going to do on probably one of my favorite hats that the U.S. military ever fielded, specifically the U.S. Army. This is a Louisville spring-up cap that was approved for private purchase, so it could become part of the uniform. It was accepted by the Army in 1951 as an official piece of field gear, but none of them were actually made by the military and like a contract basis. These were all made by the Louisville cap company and were available for private purchase by anybody who would like them. Now this came as a response because the soft hat that was issued was not really well liked by officers. Officers kind of have this ego about them and they want to look very sharp and distinguished, and this was a hat that did that much better than this design of hat. Now this is not the exact hat that they would have been wearing, but it is very representative of the modern day patrol cap. Basically, it's a kind of can-shaped hat with a soft crown, as you can see here, and a bill. And these were not well liked by officers because they weren't sharp and like tall and distinguished enough. So this was like the standard hat for all military personnel though, and you would put your little rank badge on the front. But officers wanted something that looked more sharp. So you have this. Now this is the Louisville Spring Up. It has a kind of wire in the bill here that gives it this very flat top. The bill is a little bit more rigid. And what this hat does is, because of all of this rigidness in it, made with this fabric, and as you can see, this wire runs in this little kind of fake leather channel up here that's stitched in the crown. This hat allows you to kind of crumple it up, okay, so you could put it in your pocket just like a normal field hat, and this is the reason it's called Spring Up, is because it will return to its shape once you take it out. This one has seen some use, but it's in my size, and I'm probably going to go through the process of reshaping it and kind of ironing it to make it more kind of uniform in appearance. As you can see, this one's kind of out of what it initially would have looked like coming from the PX or wherever the officer would have bought it from or ordered it straight from the factory. It would have been a more kind of uniform oval shape. It wouldn't have had all these wrinkles in it initially. It does need a good washing too. It does have all the original stamps and marks intact in it though, but you could tell that this one is used. There's some discoloration and some sweat staining on the bill and stuff here. As you can see, it's only slightly off, so it probably wasn't used for all that long, or was probably bought late in its service life. But I'm gonna try to get the tag visible here for you so you can read it. So here it is, the Spring Up registered trademark by the Louisville Hat Company. Built-in smartness lasts to the very end. All right, so it tells you how to carry it, and it's made by the Louisville Cap Corporation of Louisville, Kentucky. This is a size 7 1/4, which is my size in American head size, which only goes on diameter. So if for those of you who live in Europe or Asian countries or anything like that, where hat sizes are based on circumference, American military hat sizes only go in diameter. So this is a 7 1/4 hat. It's made out of kind of the same material as the pattern 1951 combat jacket. It's kind of this mixture of cotton and polyester. It makes it relatively water and wind resistant. It has vent eyelets put in it, as you can see here on the sides. Now, this hat wasn't just liked by the American officer corps. They entered service kind of during the Korean War, and you actually can see this hat worn by Major Frank Burns in the show MASH, which is actually one of my favorite shows. So a lot of you might recognize this hat if you've seen MASH because of that. This hat was also very popular with Fidel Castro, giving it the term the Castro. A lot of people call this the Castro hat or the coffee can because it looks like a coffee can. You hardly refer to these referred to as the Louisville Spring Up, which is what they actually are. So, and these were approved for service basically into the early Vietnam days, when the uniform changed and the official hat changed to the baseball cap. And then later, the American military would switch back to the patrol cap after Vietnam. And this never came back. I do believe that this would be a very cool option to bring back as far as distinguishing officers from, and NCOs for that matter, from regular enlisted personnel would be to give them a more rigid style of patrol cap, kind of like this. That would be very cool, I think, and kind of a throwback to history, which is what the U.S. Army appears to be doing now anyways, going back to the Army Greens, which is a play on the pinks and greens from World War II. I feel like this would be kind of cool and a nice throwback to like the Korean War, which is very well forgotten by a lot of people around the world. So, neat piece of history. And like I said, these were well liked by other countries as well. You can see pictures of Canadians in the Korean War wearing hats. So this would be the Canadian hat here, their peaked cap. So made by Buffalo Cap. It's a wool cap. These were much liked because they're a little bit cooler. And once again, a lot of officers really like these because of their smart look and appearance. And the fact that they did last a very long time. They are very well constructed. You can find hats. Most of these were made in the 50s. And they kind of stopped making them in the late 50s, but they were still purchasable for quite a while after that in a lot of American PXs. But they're an excellent hat. They never really wear out. You find a lot of them still in usable condition, although be it very sun-faded and beat up. But very, very well-liked cap. Thought you guys might like this. It's a little-known piece of gear. Very interesting, I thought. I don't know how much this is going to be liked or viewed, but it's kind of a neat piece of history that was overshadowed from a war that was overshadowed by the war that preceded it and followed it. And these weren't used for all that long of a time. But if you ever got to use one of these, or if you've ever seen one of these or anything like that, or anything, I'd very much like to get your opinions on them in the comments if you're an old timer. I think it would be super cool to hear your story. If you know anybody who was kind of a pompous ass of an officer who wore one of these, I'd like to hear that story in the comments as well. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope this little window into kind of some of the smaller accoutrements of a military uniform that was lost to time would be great. So please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. I'm working better on my speech, as you can see. I'm not saying as much as I used to. I'm working on that still, though, so you will hear it in the videos. But it's going to eventually, hopefully, get rid of it as I get more time to do this type of stuff. So all thanks to your donations. If you think I deserve a donation, please go to the About page on my channel and drop me some money. You're going to get some exclusive content that's going to be coming out very, very soon here. And you're going to be missing out otherwise. So far, there's only 2 people that are going to see it, and some other people who've contributed to the channel, mostly other YouTubers that are going to get to see it. And you're missing out, unfortunately. So that'd be, you don't want to miss it, because it's something that's going to be a really long and in-depth video on a very, 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 very controversial weapon from the First World War. And that's all I'm going to give you for now. So thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.